Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How wonderful to see such a full house. Can you all hear me? Yes, good. I'm Joanne Manita. I'm chair of the Latah County Human Rights Task Force, and it's our honor to put on this breakfast every year. And it's so wonderful. I can't thank you enough for being here, and also the people on Zoom, wherever you are. Because we sell out, but we don't want anyone to miss out, so we also live stream. You know, every morning I get up and look at the paper and look at my emails, and it's so distressing that I have to take a deep breath and think about our community and how wonderful it is and how we support each other. And that's what the breakfast's all about. So to start things off, excuse me, first, let's thank Leah Dahl, who played some beautiful music for us. Thank you, Leah. And I hope you're enjoying the wonderful breakfast that Patty's Kitchen is providing. So keep on eating while we keep on talking. I'm going to start by introducing Blaine Eccles, who is the University of Idaho Vice Provost and in charge of Student Affairs, to give one of our two welcomes. Blaine?
Well, good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here again with you all today. This is literally my favorite event that we do here in Moscow. This is such a beautiful community, and while I've only lived here for 10 years, it's clear that the legacy that you have all committed to our community is strong and powerful. On behalf of the University of Idaho and President Green and Provost Lawrence, I want to thank you all for the opportunity to be here. I'm grateful for the work that continues to ensure the MLK Breakfast remains a meaningful, inclusive, and community-centered event. This gathering over the breaking of bread, which I always like to say is how you invite individuals into your home and community, has long been more than a commemorative gathering. It's a space for reflection, learning, and a recommitment to the values that Dr. King espoused. Those values align deeply with the mission of the university and the work many of us do every single day. Like Joanne was saying, it is hard to wake up and see what's happening in the world sometimes. But when you come to events like this just shows there is still light, there is still hope, and there is still work to do. And we're going to collectively continue working on doing that together. I want to acknowledge, thank you. I want to acknowledge that this moment calls for intentionality about how we honor Dr. King's legacy and how we center voices and experiences that have been marginalized and how we translate reflection into action. From the university's perspective, we see this event as an opportunity to support learning beyond the classroom and to reinforce our commitment to belonging and community engagement. And the university has felt nothing but love, care, and support from this community. So on behalf, once again, of President Green and Provost Lawrence, I want to say thank you very much. And thank you all for your continued leadership and dedication to the Moscow community and Dr. King's legacy. Thank you very much.
And we couldn't do this event without the support of our city. And we are so glad to have at least 3 of city council people here, and Sage Miketich, I knew I wouldn't do that, will give a welcome on behalf of the city.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. And thank you for this opportunity to speak before you on behalf of the City of Moscow. It's an honor to be on the City Council and to serve as liaison to the Human Rights Commission. For those of you who don't know me, Sage Miketich, I'm a lifelong Moscow resident, proud Moscow Bear, Vandal alum, and again, I'm just privileged to be in this role. The City of Moscow's Human Rights Commission was established in 2004. Human Rights Commission affirms, encourages, and initiates programs and services designed to eliminate discrimination, improve human relations, and advance human rights legislation. The City of Moscow has supported this breakfast and the work of the Latah County Human Rights Task Force annually since 2011. And as Blaine touched on, we're here today to remember, honor, and celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. and to carry on his legacy. His work has inspired us to celebrate diversity, to identify and diminish inequity, and ultimately make our communities more welcoming, loving, and inclusive. This is a special event held in a very special community. And because the considerable achievements of those before us and among us, we've made great progress. And yet, there's an opportunity to do more. I invite you to consider taking small steps to get more involved in human rights organizations locally. Presently, there are 4 vacancies on the Human Rights Commission and ample opportunities to support the work of the Latah County Human Rights Task Force. Many thanks are owed to the Heart of the Arts for hosting us here in the 1912 Center, Joanne Manita and the task force, the University of Idaho. Thank you, Blaine, again for your opening remarks, and all of you for making this event successful and memorable for many years. I hope you enjoy your breakfast, and thank you again for being here.
And I want to kind of underline what, thank you, what Sage just said, because it's the City of Moscow's Human Rights Commission that we partner with on a lot of events and that support this event. This is the 33rd Martin Luther King Human Rights Community Breakfast that we've had. But wait, and everyone is sold out every year. So every one of you, you know, it takes the university, it takes the city, but it takes all of the people, and you're the people that are supporting and advancing human rights. I said we had 3 members of City Council here. We also have 3 or 4 members of the Human Rights Commission. With City Council and Human Rights stand so we can see, whoa, you're kind of scattered around. So we thank them all for their devotion. And yes, we are here to talk about Dr. King's ideals and to talk about our world today. But we're going to start off with something really happy, which is the Rosa Parks Human Rights Achievement Award that we give every year. Dr. King was a great leader and had a lot of messages for us all. But in just one small movement, Rosa Parks started the whole civil rights movement. She's called the mother of civil rights because human rights, because she refused to get up and she didn't say anything, she just did it. And so sometimes we have to remember it's not what we say, but it's when we show up and we do something that makes a big difference. So it's my pleasure to introduce Mary Jo Hamilton, who is the secretary of the task force and has headed up the committee on the Rosa Parks Award. I have to say, we got amazing, amazing nominations this year. I was glad I wasn't on the committee to have to make any decision. But so we give, you'll explain, we give a community awards. Okay, Mary Jo.
Joanna's right. We had wonderful nominations this year. It took us a long time for the committee to whittle it down to 1. It was really amazing. Okay, can you hear me now? Yeah. Anyway, so thanks. I want to thank everybody who wrote in those beautiful nominations for the many, many people in Moscow that actually deserve it. I wish we had more. I wish we had more gifts, you know, to hand out, but we don't. Can I get Barbara Strickmeyer to come up and? Barbara is going to be introducing our Rosa Parks Award for the community.
Thank you. It is truly an honor to introduce this year's Rosa Parks Award recipient, Jessie Martinez. Today, Jesse serves as the director of the University of Idaho's Vandals First program, where he continues his unwavering focus on access, persistence, and student success. In this role, and previously as the director of the Office of Multicultural Affairs, Jesse has dedicated his career to strengthening the systems that help students thrive academically and personally. Under his leadership, programs such as the College Assistance Migrant Program, TRIO, Vandal Challenge, and PACE expanded their reach and impact, transforming lives across campus. One outcome speaks volumes. Retention rates for Latino students, historically underserved in higher education, rose to over 84%, exceeding retention rates of the overall student population. That achievement reflects Jesse's steady leadership, vision, and deep commitment to students. Beyond his administrative roles, Jesse is a connector and a builder. He co-founded Unity, a coalition of student organizations that bring students together across experiences and perspectives to foster understanding, collaboration, and positive change. Jesse's commitment also extends far beyond campus. For more than a decade, he has worked closely with the Latah County Human Rights Task Force, helping organize events that brought nationally significant voices to our community and advanced meaningful conversations about justice, history, and civic responsibility. Perhaps most powerfully, Jesse's work with the College Assistant Migrant Program and first-generation students is deeply personal. As a first-generation college student who once benefited from camp himself, he has come full circle, ensuring that future generations of students have the support and opportunity they need to succeed. Jesse Martinez embodies the spirit of the Rosa Parks Award through his caring nature, his integrity, his leadership, and his dedication to human rights. His work has opened doors, strengthened communities, and changed countless lives. Please join me in congratulating and thanking Jesse Martinez.
I'll just be very brief. Wow. No, thank you very much. I mean, this is definitely a surprise. I mean, but everything that Barb mentioned is everything that we have done as a community. It's everything that we have done as not only as a Moscow community, as the University of Idaho, our colleagues, our faculty, staff, and equally important, our students, right? A lot of aspects that I feel that it's very important to acknowledge is our families that contribute not only for many of us to get us here to this country, but also to open up opportunities and opportunities for higher education as well. I have the good fortune to work with many family members, and we know that their support, which looks different from family to family, is crucial and important. And I think that's something that this award should be dedicated to all the families, to our communities, to all of you that are here, especially in these very trying times. So again, while I will definitely accept the award, it's definitely an award that belongs to all of you and to all of our families and communities. So thank you very much. I definitely didn't do this alone, and I have not done any of this alone, but it definitely has been a pleasure to serve our community. So thank you.
On behalf of the Human Rights Task Force, we want to give you this award, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. I forgot one last person. Well, one very important individual, my wife, Evelina Arevalos. She's definitely the one that keeps me insane, so thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We also give an award to a student or students in our community. They could be either at the high school or they could be from the university. And this year, our winners are from the high school, and I'd like to have where did she go? There she is. To introduce you to.
Thank you, Rachel. Oh, I'm a little taller. Wow. How's that? Is that good? Great. So my name is Leanne Erickson. I teach at the high school, and I advise the Human Rights Club. And this year, I'm delighted to present the Rosa Parks Youth Award to Basil Carter and Nick Leonard. And I'd like them to come stand here because they're much better looking and more interesting to look at than I am. So come here. Come on up. You have to stand here through the whole thing. Come on up. Basil, too. Thank you. Come on up, Nick. So, Nick and Basil have worked for the past 2 years to rebuild the Moscow High School Human Rights Club into a strong and active club. This was no small feat. Since COVID, the Human Rights Club, like other high school clubs and other groups, has struggled to survive. It really wasn't unusual for only 1 or 2 students to come to a meeting, and the club could easily have fallen by the wayside. Basil and Nick did get discouraged, but they didn't give up. They showed up at meeting after meeting. They invited their friends to meetings. They embodied the adage that being there is sometimes the most important thing. And they embraced the idea of, what if Moscow High School didn't have a human rights club? What message would that send to the student body, especially to those marginalized students? So they stuck with it. As more students started coming to meetings, Nick and Basil recruited students to attend a Spokane presentation by a Holocaust survivor. They brought 100 high school students to the event, and that made up 10% of the audience. They organized a school walkout, and this was like an unapproved school walkout, so it makes it even better, to show support for students affected by Trump's policies and by the Idaho legislature's intolerance of anything that even hints at DEI. They helped organize the Veterans Day Assembly to honor the World War II Navajo Code talkers. And they offered to have the club buy an Everyone is Welcome Here t-shirt for any Moscow High School student, any Moscow High School teacher, they were also extending that to students, who wanted one. And they got almost every single high school teacher on board. In sum, although it's rare to present the Rosa Parks Youth Award to 2 people, I think that Nick and Basil show us that working together is truly the best way to get us through these crazy times. So congratulations to you both. I think that you'll see that, that these 2 are the perfect team because they're very different. One is a little more talkative than the other. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Basil to take over. Would you like to say thank you first?
I'm a little shorter. If I were to tell my 5-year-old self that I made it here, he would probably be like, who is Rosa Parks? Because he's 5 years old. But if I were to tell myself a few years ago that I would make it to this point, he would be absolutely shocked. When I first moved here, I was so excited to join the Human Rights Club and build more of a life for myself, getting into activism here. Because my parents always told me that if you want something, you get up and you work for it. You go out there and make a change. So I would like to thank my parents. I would like to thank my Nona, who is sitting over there. Thank you. I would like to thank Nick for being my vice president, and I would like to thank everyone who has supported me throughout my high school journey. Thank you so much.
So we got two. So we'll keep that.
Let him take the picture. And their service doesn't end there because both Nick and Basil are members of the, we have high school members on our task force, and they are representing the high school on our task force. And they, along with the rest of the Human Rights Club, are making this breakfast possible by serving us and helping us. So, and that's what it's all about. We have to pass it on to the next generation because we can't do it alone. Okay. So I see next on the program we have a moment to clear tables, and then we're going to hear from one of our favorite music groups, Gefilte Trout, who are playing upstairs, and that's something new we're trying. So let's just, for a couple of minutes, let the students, you want to clear the tables, and we will start the music in 5 minutes. So finish eating. Okay, would you please take your seats again? Thank you. Please sit down. Before we start again and hear the wonderful music of gefilte trout, there are two things I need to do. Blaine Eccles would like to make an announcement. What's that? Okay. If I need help with a mic, would someone help me? No? Okay. So Blaine, you wanted to say.
Oh, Lee, that's Lee. There she is.
Who is it?
Lee about donations.
This was not my idea, but if anyone would like to give donations to the Human Rights Task Force, I think we have a donations basket. Is that right? Oh gosh, this is on tape. Over here, right? Great. And then it was suggested to me that perhaps if anyone would be interested in donating to the Human Rights Club at the high school, we'd be glad to have that. Actually, if you'd like a t-shirt in exchange for your donation that says everyone is welcome here, we're having them printed by Artbeat on 100% cotton. We got a few colors to choose from. I just think it's great to get the word out. I think in this day and age, anything we can do to say this is something I support. So if you want to do that, I'm just going to at this point say, see me or a student and we'll get you taken care of.
And one more thing before the music, I forgot to mention two things. One is that at the high school, there's a plaque where the names of all the students that we have given awards to. And so we would be proud to add two more to that plaque. And speaking of people we've given awards to, I want to recognize all the past winners of the Rosa Parks Awards who are here with us. I know there are quite a few, Rich Weckerly, Rula, Ken Fonswell, all of the people who have won past awards for the Rosa Parks Award. Please stand for a minute so we can see that you're still with us. Thank you. And that includes Lee Robertus, who got it last year, and Bruce Pittman, I see, who's come to every breakfast he can. Okay, I'm going to now turn it over to gefilte trout.
Good morning. We are gefilte trout, and we perform klezmer music and general folk music from the Central and Eastern Europe. I will sing 4 songs. None of them are in English, so I will introduce each one. And the first one comes from the country where I was born and raised, Ukraine. Thank you. It's a lullaby, and it's probably the most popular lullaby in Ukraine, and probably every mother at some point have sung this to her child, including me, and mothers in Ukraine right now also sing this lullaby to their children, sometimes in the cold, in the dark, but always with hope.
Agri
is in Hebrew, and it's talking about the sun rising, and if we pray softly for the people who already dead, we will not bring peace. So we have to sing for peace loudly and sing now. And we cannot say, well, the day will come when peace happens. We have to bring this day. So we will sing the song for peace loudly now. Nula shene song is in Yiddish, and it's also about peace and friendship and being together and not letting anybody be lonely and afraid, and being brothers and sisters with everybody. Alle Brüder, alle brothers. Und wir seien alle Brüder, oi, oi, alle Brüder, und wir singen freilich Lieder, oi, oi, oi. Und wir halten sich in einem, oi, oi, sich in einem, aber selbst ist nicht so bei keinem, oi, oi, oi. Und wir seien alle einig, hoi, hoi, alle einig, sie wir seien viel zu wenig, hoi, hoi, hoi. Und wir lieben sie doch alle, hoi, hoi, sie doch alle, wie ein passende Mittagkalle, hoi, hoi, hoi. Und wir seien freilich munter, oi, oi, freilich munter, singen Lieder, tanzen unter, oi, oi, oi. Und wir seien alle Schwester, oi, oi, alle Schwester, als oi, wir hoch und rufen Esther, oi, 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 And the last song is kind of just for fun. It's in Romani language. It's a Roma folk song about a young girl who wants to go out into the world and grow up and see what beautiful things are out there. Nane Tsoha. Nane Tsoha, Nane Ga, Mekinele Manigeada, Sirvidia Palarom, Mekinel Mangearo, La-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da-da-da-da-da, la-di-da-di-da-da-da-da-da, la-di-da-di-da-da-da-da-da.
Today I want to tell the city of Selma.
Tell them, Doctor.
Today I want to say to the state of Alabama.
Yes, sir.
Today I want to say to the people of America and the nations of the world that we are not about to turn around.
Yes, sir.
We are on the move now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we're on the move, and no wave of racism can stop us.
Yes, sir.
The burning of our churches will not deter us.
Yes, sir.
The bombing of our homes will not dissuade us.
Yes, sir.
The beating and killing of our clergymen and young people will not divert us.
Yes, sir.
The wanton release of their known murderers will not discourage us. We're on the move now.
Yes, sir.
Be swift, my soul, to answer him. Be jubilant, my feet. Our God is marching on. Glory, hallelujah.
Yes, sir.
Glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
Trouble these waters, rain in the water.
So Russ has brought us back to thinking about Martin Luther King and to thinking about the theme of today's breakfast, which is immigration and American experience. And we can also say immigration and American journey, which we're going to hear about. We are a nation of immigrants. You know, last year we had talked about how they were trying to take the word diversity and inclusion away, and we weren't going to let them. Well, now they're trying to tell us immigration's a naughty word, and we're not going to let them do that either, are we? No. It's crazy to do it because we are all immigrants. Let's just try something. Anyone here who was born in another country, anyone here who's one of your parents was born in another country, or anyone here that one of your grandparents was born in another country, raise your hands. That's us, right? We're a nation of immigrants. We had a program at the market last year, and people lined up to put little dots on where they're from. So maybe later you could look at that. And you see that people from Moscow are from all over the world. We are the world. And that's part of the message that we're bringing to here today. And we're very honored to have a wonderful guest speaker who came from the Boise area to be with us today, Raquel Reyes. She is the director of programs and outreach for PODER, which stands for Protecting Our Resilience and right. She is going to tell you about her work and her journey, and she has worked with this organization for a few years, but before that she spent 20 years also developing human rights and networks throughout Idaho. So it's with a great honor that I introduce our guest speaker, Raquel Reyes.
Thank you so much, Joanne. What an honor to be here today, and I appreciate those who asked and requested for me to come to speak to you today. There was a couple things I want to say before I get started in my actual presentation. First of all, felicidades, carnal. Qué orgullo. And then also to the young people, thank you for giving up a Saturday to serve I want to say a bunch of over 50-year-old people. That right now in this time, we need your voices. We need young people to become involved, and we need young people to get out and vote. With that being said, Joanne asked me to kind of talk to you a little bit about what PODER is, and then the impact that immigration has had over my community in the Treasure Valley area. So PODER of Idaho is, and I'm a storyteller, so I have to have notes, otherwise I go off on a tangent. So please bear with me. It's not that I don't want to engage. I have to stay 30 minutes. So PODER of Idaho is a people-powered movement rooted in dignity, belonging, and justice. We organize and uplift Latino and immigrant families across Idaho to build leadership, strengthen civic voice, and defend human rights. Through community organizing and advocacy, PODER works to ensure that every family, regardless of immigration status, can live safely, participate fully, and thrive in our shared communities. So that's PODER in a nutshell. We inform, educate, and organize. So my question to y'all before I get into how this has affected my community is, it says an American experience, but is it an American experience, or are you guys being exposed to what we experience on a daily basis? I want you to think about that for a little bit. Is it your experience, or are you now finally being exposed, truly exposed, to what we live with on a daily basis? The question was, how has this affected my community, the raid that happened in Wilder? And that was more exposure of what we live with, but we live with this daily. It's not a new concept to our community or to our undocumented people. We live with this daily. We live in the shadows. In a mixed status relationship, my husband is undocumented, I am a US citizen. Every day I give him a blessing before he leaves the home. I wanna make sure he comes home that evening, especially right now where we have that uncertainty if we're gonna get pulled over. Even myself as a person of color, whether they know I'm a citizen or not, the opportunity to pull me over and question me, it can happen at any moment, at any time. I could be questioned at the airport on my way home today. Like, where was I born? I was born in Los Angeles, California. My sister's in Edinburgh, Texas, and my brother in Nissa, Oregon. My father is from Santa Rosa, Texas. My mother is from Reynosa, Tamaulipas, Mexico. My father's family is from Linares, Nuevo León, Mexico, all border towns. The border crossed our family. We didn't cross the border. This little line was created. So it was hard for me to, like, what's our experience? Like, our families aren't driving anymore. We have to find people to do errands for us. I mean, we used to drive anyway, but with that uncertainty. So we have to live really in the shadows now. We've always lived in the shadows, but right now, we're living in a time where it's very fearful for us to even, and I include myself because I am a person of color. It's very hard times for us right now. And so the question, yeah, it was large scale, it was scary as hell, and something new to Idaho. Well, some of you, because in the, I wanna say the early 90s, we used to have a lot of workforce raids in Idaho, especially in the Treasure Valley. Boise Cascade, Idaho Truss, a lot of companies that worked with construction. So, disrupts our families, it separates head of households from their children and their wives. It's nothing new, it affects us on a daily. And so for me, that was like, how do I explain that question? How do I make you understand what I live with every day? So with that being said, like I said, I could go on and on, but I want to get into my presentation and take you on my journey of my family and myself. And feel free, I brought some pictures so you can put some faces to a name, to the name, and just because I wanted my ancestors here with me as I spoke about our life as immigrants in this country. So my journey caused early advocacy for me, and my parents and grandparents were part of a seasonal agricultural migration routine, traveling from Texas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma to Michigan. While my father and his brothers were born in the United States in the late 1920s, my grandfather decided to take his family back to Mexico, where 3 more children were born. Much later in life, during his final days, my father shared the vivid memory, because my dad really never talked to us about their journey here to the United States, because my dad and my mother, us children being born in the 60s, for them, they wanted us to assimilate. They didn't want us to, I don't want to say embrace our culture, because they did teach us some of our culture, but they thought it was very important for us to have an education and become what we want to say a little bit whiter, so we can participate with my peers in school, because there was very few people of color in Wilder. Most of them were migrant workers that came and left seasonal. So in his final days of his journey on earth, my father shared this vivid memory of crossing the Rio Grande River, where he, as the oldest, he helped his mother and siblings cross on inner tubes to return to the United States. My family eventually settled in Idaho in the late 1950s. Idaho, as I've always maintained, has a racist history. I know that's hard for people to hear, but it's one of truth. And I come here only to speak with truth. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything for you, because I need you to understand our journey, what we live with since back in the 50s. One that was simply better hidden after the civil rights movement and Chicano movements. My dad recounted signs in business saying, "No shoes, no shirts, no spics or dogs allowed. He also told of a time when a restaurant refused service to them when they were trying to get milk for my sister. I'm the baby, so they're older than I am. And so they went to the restaurant, asked to just buy some milk, and they were refused service. They said, absolutely not. Fortunately for them, they were in a park, and a police officer came and asked what the problem was, and they said, we need milk for my baby, and we have nowhere to go get any. So the officer went himself, got the milk for my family and my parents and my sisters, because I had 2 sisters at that time, and also food. He ensured that they were taken care of, and my dad really appreciated that, and that is one of the stories he shared quite a bit with us. My own introduction to organizing and advocacy began in the 70s. As a junior in high school in a small agricultural Idaho town, I learned the school was attempting to implement an English-only policy. I felt this was incredibly unfair, especially to my classmates who were seasonal workers and spoke limited English. My father encouraged me to speak with the administration. He didn't encourage me, he just said, you need to go talk to them. Because I asked him, what could we do, he and I, right? He says, I don't go to school, you talk to them. So he pretty much left me on my own. And I went in and I spoke to the school principal and the superintendent. I didn't go to the board at that time. And I voiced my opposition to this unlawful policy, or cruel to me policy, and present how this policy would negatively affect my fellow students. And because of my voice and because my ability to stand up for what I felt was right, that was tabled, and that English-only policy has never come into Wilder, because Wilder is made up of like 95% Latinos in our community. In the 70s, we were fewer, but now if you go to Wilder, it's practically all Latino community. So immigration, and the title is a personal and a professional calling for me. My first intimate encounter with the immigration process was when I married the father of my children, and I've been married a couple times. I don't know if it's them or me, but anyway, he was he was undocumented, and I began the process to legalize his status. After submitting the paperwork, we discovered that he had a 5-year bar from a prior encounter with immigration judge, which necessitated us to hire an attorney and put a $5,000 bond. And grant you, in the 80s, $5,000 was a lot for me to come up with, and thankfully my parents were able to assist us because we never got those $5,000 back. To make a long story short, the federal government penalized him for entering without inspection, sentenced him to a 3-year federal prison term in Florence, Arizona. So I was uprooted with my baby girl and went to live in Florence to be closer to him, to be able to visit him and see him, and all alone when I've never left my parents' side, just to go to school in Portland. So it was tough for me. I was new to this world of immigration and felt completely lost. Fortunately, the children's father, the bio dad, he served only 5 months and was released without deportation, we were very fortunate, because they told us that he would be deported once he served his sentence for breaking law, for coming back after he'd been fined for 5 years. He was later, not through me, we separated shortly after, and after I had my son, but he was able to obtain status through the seasonal agricultural worker program implemented by President Ronald Reagan. And that time in the 80s, if you worked in the seasonal agricultural work so many days, you were eligible to apply for a visa, which was a great program at that time, right? Many people were able to get legal status through the 80s. So that experience truly cemented my commitment to immigrant issues and my community. In the 1980s, a crucial decade for the birth of many, this was the birth of many immigration rights organizations in the 80s. I mean, we've always had them like 60s, 70s, but not to the extent where this came into play. I, at that time, volunteered at St. Mary's Catholic Church. I assisted hundreds of families through the application process for the SAW program and the Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986, also known as IRSA. Translating birth certificates, and these are long birth certificates. Now we just do a template and we just put the most the information that they request. We don't have to translate the whole birth certificate. And some of these people were here since the 1920s, so their birth certificate was so long, two-sided. Like, oh my goodness, but we had to translate that whole birth certificate. We reviewed the applications for errors, and then ensuring all supporting documents were included with their application so they could move forth in this process. So moving into the 1990s, I worked for Community Council of Idaho, formerly the Idaho Migrant Council. I don't know if you've heard of that. They are one of the largest nonprofit Latino organizations in the state of Idaho, and they work from Treasure Valley all the way up to eastern Idaho. We've had numerous Head Starts. We had a Head Start up here in Bonners Ferry with the Anheuser-Busch company. They had hop fields up there, and we would bus families in from Texas, and then we would go in and start the Head Start and work with the children while the parents were working in the hop fields. So during those workplace raids that I was talking about in the Treasure Valley, the council, or the Migrant Council, or Community Council, and other nonprofits, we provided essential services. We came together and we notarized documents for family, because there is safe planning, a family safe planning that we do incorporate in our Know Your Rights training to ensure that the families are prepared, they know what documents they need. Can you still hear me? Yeah. They know what documents they need to know like who they're gonna leave in charge, their children in charge with, who's gonna take care of them if ever they're deported. We work on their financial side of it, all those things. We prepare all of those paper and document for them so they're prepared if anything were to happen to them. So we, as a group, we came together and we started notarizing paperwork. We got everything together so that they would know what the process would be if a head of household was detained. Because at that time, and even now, mostly men are picked up, although we do see more and more women being picked up, but they always targeted the head of household or the provider of the families. So in 2012, under the Obama administration, the Deferred Action for Childhood program was passed. And I urged the executive director of the council to create a sliding scale or low-income immigration program for the students, because some of these families had 3 or 4 kids that qualified for DACA, and the application was like $500 and some per child. How are they going to pay for an attorney plus that application fee? And so we created a self-help workshop where students would come in and families would come in with their children. And most of these are young people in school. So they're very computer literate, they can read, very intelligent young people. So we just had them in front of computers, pulled up the application, and walked them through the process, myself and an attorney. We would fill our computer space of 30 computers or computer lab the 2 nights a week that we would have it. And many times we had to stay till 11 or 12 at midnight trying to get through this process with these students. So, so we did this workshop, and then with that being said and seeing the need, I knew that we needed to provide something to our community. And so I was adamant about creating something where our families could get the assistance that they needed to go through the process, immigration process, not just the DACA program, but family-oriented immigration, asylums, refugees. Those are all different categories of permissible status that you can get in this country. They're not guaranteed anymore. They used to be a guarantee, TPS, temporary protective status. It's gone. They're actually going to start wanting to deport Cubans, which is absolutely insane to me, because we allowed them to come here. We asked them to come here. We helped them to be here, as we've done a disservice to many countries, which has created this immigration flow into the United States. It's not something we did on our own. Our government was shitty to us. I mean, they were, but the doors were opened and we were asked to be here. Now they don't want us here. Many of you may think, well, they didn't do it the legal way. But these TPS holders, these DACA holders, the asylees and the refugees, they did do it the right way. You just don't want to give them permanent status because you're afraid they'll become naturalized and you're afraid they'll start voting. So I asked myself, how can this be an American experience? This is bottom line ethnic cleansing. The DEI, keep them uneducated, keep them oppressed. They can't vote. They're not going to vote us out. Let's keep our people of color in their place. Something we've experienced for years, nothing new to us, something we live with on a daily. So, moving into the current reality of my life right now, I married a young man, much younger than myself, and I told him at that time, I said, let's apply for your legal status. He said, well, I don't know, because your family may think I married you just for my residency or my papers, as we call it. And I said, I don't give a shit. Excuse my language, but I cuss like a sailor, okay? I said, I don't give a shit what my family thinks or what my people, my neighbors or whoever, we need to do this for you. And at that time, had he listened to me, we would have paid a $1,000 fine at the Boise office. He would have been interviewed there and would have received his residency in less than 6 months. But he didn't listen to me. He still doesn't listen to me, but that's another story for another time. So when who got voted the first time, his first term, I got really scared because he was really adamant about deportation and detainment. And I told my husband, I said, I really, really, really want to start the process for you. I said, because I don't know what this man is capable of, right? At that time, I wasn't really sure. Now we know what he's capable of, right? I think the first term he had his hands a little bit tied. So he wasn't able to do all the craziness that he's doing now because he has the backing of Congress, he has the backing of his cabinet, and nobody's standing up to this stupidity. So in 2016, I went ahead and filed the I-130, which is permission to apply for a spouse. And as a U.S. citizen, I have that right to do that. So we started the process, it was accepted, and then Department of State, who does the consular visits and reviews like your taxes and all those things, if you're able to be financially sustainable, or do you need a sponsor, because we have to prove that if something happens, I could take care of him, blah, 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 all these rules. And his application was accepted. We were in the process with the state, Department of State, hoping to get his consular visit date appointment in Chihuahua, Mexico, and COVID hit. So COVID hit, and of course, there's no one working. No one working at USCIS, no one working for Homeland Security, just everything shut down. So we couldn't move, we were stagnant in this process. And so because we never responded, not due to our own fault, right, they closed our application. And at that point, I was doing it all myself. I didn't have an attorney or anything, because immigration is my background, and I knew how to do the paperwork, and I said, this save us some money, right? Well, COVID hit. They closed my case because of non-response. But honestly, I have the receipts that showed I never received the letters that they were sending me. One, they were sending them to my work because I had a G28 working for the immigration program at the council, and so I'm on a lot of paperwork through the council, my work email. So some of those things were getting sent there, but I wasn't working. And so I have the receipts, and at that point I said, God dang it, I need an attorney. I don't know how to reopen a case. So we went and gave $2,000 down to retain this attorney, and this has been since 2021. I'm still waiting for a response that my application has been processed and that we can move forward. We still haven't had an acceptance letter. It's still sitting in limbo. I don't know if it's because of what's happening. I don't know if it's because of shortage of workers. I don't know. We don't know. The attorney's not getting any response. And that's what I'm paying for, like, get me a response. I need to know where we're at with this process. Because every day I have to give him the blessing and say, please come home tonight. Please be really careful. Let's check the car, make sure the blinkers are working, the brake lights are working. There's nothing that they can stop you, pull you over for. Please follow the rules. Because Idaho refuses to give our undocumented community a driver's license. California, Nevada, Washington, Oregon, all our neighbors, they provide that to our undocumented community. Idaho refuses to do that because, good God, we might make money for the state of Idaho. We might buy insurance for our car. Why would we do that? Why would we allow that? Right? So at this point, we're waiting and waiting and waiting, and I'm hoping that by midterms November, there'll be a tide, a change, and I can move forward with not only for myself, but my community, because I work with a lot of families on the side. I have a lot of side hustles. I do catering, I do mixes for drinks, sell mixes for drinks, pre-mixed drinks, and one of my passions is helping families through their I-90 renewal. That's people with a residency card and they need to renew it. And I also assist them with their naturalization. Don't charge them. They come, I make sure they have everything. We go through the process because now they want everything online and they want you to pay with a card. No more checks or cash or paper. They want everything done online, which for some of my older families, they don't have that experience or the knowledge. And they don't want the kids to do it because they're afraid they make a mistake and put them in a precarious situation, right? We're in that situation anyway because they're denying people to take the oath after they've been vetted and they've been through the process, and they're denying them to take the oath, denying them to become naturalized citizens. They are actually taking naturalized citizens' citizenship away from them, which it's ethnic cleansing. I can't think of a better word to explain what is happening to our country right now. What is the fear? That's always what I tell my sisters. What are they scared of? What scares them the most? That we are no longer a minority? That we have the ability to have a voice? That there's people like me all over this country fighting back, pushing back? Is that the fear? This is a really emotional subject for me. I've been doing this for 40 plus years, since I was a teenager in high school, right? What changes? How do we make that change? What can we do as a society, a community, and as the country to everyone's welcome here? Not just in the school district, not just at the grocery store, but in our everyday life. I love the slogan, everyone welcome here, but I'm not welcomed here. Jesus and his family is not welcomed here. We have lots of people of color that are not welcomed here. I refuse to get a t-shirt because I'm not welcomed here. I refuse to put my hand on my heart to do the Pledge of Allegiance because I am not free. My family's not free. People think I'm being really disrespectful, and that's fine. They can think whatever. But I believe in my rights. I believe in the rights of my community, and I believe in humanity. And the bottom line is humanity. It's not a political right, left, whatever they want to call it. It's not political, folks. It's humanity. It's being humane. We've lost that in America. We lost our humanity. We lost that ability to embrace, to love everyone, irregardless of what they look like, their color, their gender, whatever they want to recognize themselves as. We have lost that in America. And I don't know, as an advocate and an activist, how do I change that? I work tirelessly, and I sometimes don't feel like I've ever made a change. But my goal in my life, when I retire or God takes me home, that my grandsons will say, my grandma fought for that. It may not have happened. I may not have make a change or change a law or a policy, but they will know beyond a shadow of a doubt that every day I woke up and I fought for for their rights. And that they be proudly say that I fought for their rights. With that being said, thank you. As I'm watching the time, with that being said, I want to do a call to action. And to truly change the current climate in our country, the most important thing we can do is get out to vote. If every registered voter would participate in the primaries and general elections, and I'm talking about my people of color too, we have the largest population able to register to vote in Idaho, and we have the smallest percentage of them actually voting. We get them registered, we can register till we're blue in the face. Doesn't matter, they're not getting to the polls to vote. So if every registered voter would participate in the primaries and general elections, we could regain the House and the Senate and address the competency of the current administration and its cabinet. We can register voters endlessly, but the real difference is made when they actually go to the polls. So my call to action is, please register, but please start a carpool. Get people to the poll, educate them, inform them. We don't have to do left, right, middle, whatever. We need to educate them on who's running, why they're running, and how do they align, how do their beliefs, how does their daily life align with this candidate. And we need to vote, but we don't educate. We are complicit. Sitting at home because it doesn't affect me. Doesn't affect you. And truly, this is where the turning point is. Get out the vote. We also need to fight back. One of the main things that I see that we really, really do need to have to do, we need to fight back with our own unified message. As independents, liberals, Democrats, however you identify, we must speak up to silence the daily flood of misinformation and hateful messages. This propaganda convinces communities that immigrants are dangerous and must be deported. Regardless of whether you are trying to do things the right way, which there is no right way, folks. I hate that. Whenever I hear that, do the right way, your ancestors did not do it the right way, believe me. You killed my community. You raped and killed my people, because I am 47% Apache Indian and my grandmother is Spaniard. And you can, like I said, you can see the pictures of, and you can see my grandpa is very much a Native American. So when they do say do the right way, I want to question, what is the right way? What is the right way? Because we have people doing it the right way and they're still getting detained and deported, arrested and held in deportation centers or detainment centers for hours, days, and months. Thank you, Basil. So regardless of whether you're trying to do the things the right way or you have a clean record, our skin color makes us targets for the public, local, state, law enforcement, and DHS. Irregardless, well, I can't change my color, and I'm proud to be a dark-skinned Mexican. And and I talked to Jesse, I said, why do they call us Mexicans? Because that's Mexico, that's a country. We are indigenous people. We are Native Americans. Doesn't matter if we're all the way in the Yucatan Peninsula or if we're on the borders of Texas. We are Native American. We are native to this land and to this country. I am not a Mexican, because that is a country of Mexico. I'm not Latina, I'm not Hispanic, I'm not Chicana, that's all ethnicity. I am a native to this country. My grandfather was a native, my great-grandfather was a native to this country, and my great-grandfather is the one that always told us. And he lived to be 104, and he ate beans and eggs every day. He told us that he never left his home, ever. But then all of a sudden, he couldn't go freely as he had in the years past, because they made this imaginary line and forbade him to leave his home. So let me end this. You know, it's heavy. It's a heavy conversation. It's very mental draining, very emotional. But I want to go back to, is this an American experience, or are you just now being exposed to the reality of what we live daily? And I appreciate our allies. I appreciate the people that work alongside me, trying to save us, trying to deter these unlawful policies. I appreciate that. But it's not your experience. It's my experience. It's my family's experience. I need you in the front lines. I need you at the forefront. I need you at the legislative session to fight these anti-immigrant bills that are coming up. There's 8 of them that will be presented this year. Because I can go in there and talk till I'm blue in the face, but I'm brown. They don't want to hear me. But they'll listen to you all. And I need you to call our legislators when these anti-immigrant bills start to pop up. I need you to write letters. I need you to email them. I need you to call them. Everything that we can do, we need to let them know that their constituents are not happy with what we're doing. And until we really push back, nothing's going to change in Idaho. We have to push back. So I want to thank the board once again for a lovely dinner last night, for inviting me to be here today to be part of the MLK celebration, because he gave up a lot and he fought for so much for us to regress back to the 60s. Many people lost their lives fighting for our rights in the Chicano movement and in the Brown Proud movement and with the MLK, Civil Rights Movement. So again, thank you so much for having me here. I appreciate you so much. And thank you for listening and for your patience as I walked you through my story. I hope you've learned a little more about immigration process through the eyes of someone who has lived it and is still living it. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Raquel. That was so moving and inspirational, and it kind of put us in our place of thinking, oh yeah, we're all immigrants. Well, we may all be immigrants, but we don't walk in your footsteps. We don't live your experience, and it's something we need to remember, because let's kind of close with some of the words of Martin Luther King, who told us injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So we can be a little complacent and say, well, our skins aren't brown, but after they take the brown skins, they'll come for you too, or me too, and they have done that in the past. Another quote from Martin Luther King that he wrote in his letter from the Birmingham jail, and he wasn't really talking about immigrants, but it's appropriate. Anyone who lives inside the United States can never be considered an outsider anywhere within its bounds. And I know we all want to live so that that becomes the rule of the land, and it's up to every one of us, as Raquel says. We have a voice, and we need to use our voice, and I know we all do, and we all know that. And we will all remember also what Dr. King said. Whoops. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. So let's all remember here never to be silent. Speak up. Do what, if you can lead, but if you can't lead, follow. If you can't follow, get some other people to follow with you. And with that, I'm going to close today by thanking all the people who made this possible. I would like to invite our task force members up here and affiliate members and the workers, the Human Rights Club helpers. Would you all come up so the audience can see who you are, and thank you all. Thank you, thank you. One of the best things about this breakfast is that we work with young people and older people and people of all backgrounds. And I hope we'll have more people of other persuasions and beliefs and reach out to people and tell them about this experience and tell them we want you to join us. We're not a dangerous group. We just believe in common humanity, and that's what it's all about. So we traditionally end our program by standing and singing We Shall Overcome, and two of our talented members are going to lead it. Yes, come up. We thank you all for coming, and let me ask you to start helping today. Be sure your name is on our mailing list for the task force so we can tell you about what we're doing, and we also tell you about what other groups are doing. And if you want to make a contribution and haven't had a chance, we'll have some bottles around for you to do that, containers. And also, you might want to consider becoming an affiliate member of the task force. Affiliate members don't have to come to meetings every month. You just have to say, I will help with 1 or 2 activities a year, and we have like 10 things we do. And we enjoy having affiliate members, and sometimes they do join the board. So you'll have some papers up here. Okay, here's some flyers about the task force and forms if you're interested in being an affiliate member. And I will have the sign-up sheet for our mail list also up here, and have a look at the lovely family that Raquel has told us about in her journey, and that gives her strength to this day. Okay, we shall overcome. You want to stand and join hands?
All right. Yes, the words are on the back of your program. Okay, are we ready? We shall